and smashes his skull into Aizawa's, knocking the pro hero out and into submission. In seconds, the few other pro heroes there to originally talk Izuku down pounce and go for deadly shots, knowing it won't kill him, but take him down. Unfortunately, they've severely underestimated the raw power Izuku holds within him. Knowing Aizawa neutralizing him, he flexes his wrists and destroys the cuffs. Binding and suppressing his immense power, a blue aura swirls around his body as tears float off his face. His eyes turn a deep and seething blue, as if to echo the sadness he feels in this moment. In front of him are All Might's closest friends, Gran Torino, Midnight, Sir Night-Eye, and an unconscious Aizawa. Deku doesn't want to, but he knows he has to. He flash steps forward and delivers a crunching punch straight to Midnight's stomach, knocking her out before she can even attempt to use her quirk. Gran Torino goes for another kick, directed at his chest. In all likelihood, trying to force the collapse of one of his 3 lungs. But Izuku is faster than this. He swats his hand and chops Gran Torino in the neck. He hears a sickening crack and panics, for a second fearing he broke the old man's neck. But he doesn't have much time to reflect on the issue, as Sir Night-Eye has already thrown his weighted stamps aimed at his skull, chest, and groin. A wide spread to combat his speed. But Deku just lets the heavy support items crash into his chest, as a display of dominance. They hurt more than he expected, and they didn't bounce off. Then he can feel it. Sir Night-Eye stole a trick from his book. He placed a needle on his stamps. He laced them with the designer barbiturate. Izuku smiles. This trick won't work on me. I don't have a normal human's biology. He rushes forward and delivers a harsh punch to the forehead of Sir Night-Eye. The police have their weapons drawn, but aren't firing. Too scared, they see what's standing before them. In their eyes, Izuku has proven himself a monster, taking out top heroes so easily and effectively. But it doesn't matter. Izuku swaggers to Gran Torino and hears a gurgle in his throat. He's taken aback and realizes that he did in fact break Gran Torino's neck, but he's still alive and conscious, so he hasn't suffered any brain damage. Izuku rushes to Gran Torino's side and heals him. One police officer screams, "What are you doing? Step back! I'm warning you, I'll fire!" "No, you won't. And I'm healing him. I accidentally broke his neck in our fight." Izuku's hands glow a bright white as he lays them on the neck of the old man. Gran Torino winces in pain, but the pain is soon taken away. Gran Torino starts to breathe normally and looks up at Izuku. "I knew they were wrong about you. You weren't going to kill anyone." "No, that's not true. I am going to kill Tomura Shigaraki." "Kid, that's not the way." "That's the only way." "I can't let you." "You have no choice." Izuku flashes his blue eyes before punching Gran Torino in his solar plexus, knocking the air out of him and knocking him out. "Sorry, old man. Rest easy." "I don't want to hurt you," Izuku says, looking at the mob of police officers with their guns drawn. "They're heroes. They can take my punches. Many of you are quirkless. You can't. Just come quietly. We don't want to fire." "Your weapons won't do anything to me. Can't you see that?" "Maybe not, but we can't just leave." The police... The police have worked with Vigilante in times of extreme duress. Tomoru Shigaraki, the one who inherited the quirk used to kill All Might, is barreling down on Japan. If you don't let me stop him, he'll destroy everything. Please. I'll turn myself in afterwards. Just let me finish this one thing. The police look worried. Can they handle this? Should they handle this? The police chief frowns and looks at Izuku. Do what you want. We can't stop you. But I expect you to stay true to your word. That's the only reason I'll let you go. With that, Izuku takes off, grabbing the 2 bodies from the warehouse and allowing One For All to take over and damage his body. He'll just heal on the way. He finally makes it to Hosu, and the streets are full of Nomu. Heroes battling them, and Tomoru Shigaraki is definitely at the center. Izuku can sense One For All telling him to run away, but he can't oblige. Sorry. It's my choice to fight, not yours. He sighs as he rushes to the center of the city, to the bar where he was told to meet the League of Villains. He walks in to see the smiling face of Shigaraki. He looks for Melissa and his mother. Looks of dread and horror on both of their faces. Izuku! What are you wearing? This is my vigilante costume, Mom. Izuku throws the unconscious bodies of Twice and Dabi on the ground. Where's Shredder? He didn't make it. What? Well, he's cold-blooded, right? I locked him in a freezer for a while. The League of Villains stares in horror. Then it's only right I take out one of your hostages! Shigaraki smiles twisted at Inko. I guess you'll do. Izuku starts to rush forward, but someone throws something at him. A grenade? Are you idiots? Izuku dives on it, knowing that he can take the blast. But what erupts isn't fire. It isn't shrapnel. It's electricity. As it surges through Izuku, he starts to feel weak. You stupid people in your hero complexes. It's so easy to manipulate you. Do you know how humans destroyed your ancestors? Even though they were so strong with all those special powers? Electricity. They created the first batteries that still baffle scientists. They don't know the purpose, but we do. Izuku writhes on the ground, feeling weaker and weaker. He slowly succumbs to the darkness. His last sight being Shigaraki placing his hand on Inko's shoulder and quickly erasing her. You bastard! I'll kill you! Deku passes into the darkness, where he's met not by the precursor, but by the first holder of One For All. You must overcome this. You must rise up and destroy the holder of One For All, my older brother. He goes on to tell Izuku the story of One For All, and All For One, and their creation. As Izuku listens, he knows he's already failed, and he looks at the shadowy figures. He sees All Might standing there, but looking away. Izuku ignores the first holder of One For All and starts to cry. I'm so sorry, All Might. I failed you. I can understand if you're ashamed of me. I didn't travel down the path you set for me. All Might turns to Izuku, and the first holder falls into the shadows as All Might stands in front of Izuku. He looks at him with tears in his eyes and punches Izuku, even the Psych Realm. You idiot! Don't you think for 1 second I'm not proud of you? That I haven't rested all my hope and all my faith in you. Sure, you took the path of a vigilante, but you had nothing to go on, no security. You were thrown into a world of heroes and villains, and you did it in your own way. You protected the innocent with the power you had. Interfering where you don't technically belong is the essence of being a hero. All Might smiles, and he charges up a punch again. Now wake up and show them the power of the hero. That is Nightblade! As All Might throws his fists, Izuku wakes up. Shigaraki's hand inches from his face. In sync with All Might, Izuku grabs his hand by the wrist and says, "You wanna fight? Well, don't expect me to lay down and die!" Izuku punches Shigaraki with more than 100% of One For All. Shigaraki tries to block, but with a powerful uppercut, Izuku sends Shigaraki careening into the sky. Izuku looks up, and with a voice both his and All Might's, he stares into Shigaraki's soul. Now for a lesson. You may have heard these words before, but allow me to show you what they really mean. To go beyond, plus, ultra! Izuku, now having his abilities back, cocks his fist back, and takes in a deep breath, activating more than 1,000,000% of One For All. He rushes into the sky and punches a hole right through Shigaraki's chest. Recover from this, asshole! Izuku smiles, feeling like his master's back at his side for the first time. He then activates an ability similar to his 100% form against Overhaul. The sky is filled with fists, all of them barreling down on Shigaraki. This is true power. Shigaraki smiles. He was never going to be ready for this. Well, it seems my master's child has beaten me. Not yet! Kurogiri cries as he throws open a portal in front of Shigaraki. I'm sorry, master, but you cannot die here. As Shigaraki falls backwards through the portal, Izuku's punches land on his cloud-like body, more than 100 of them, shattering his true form. He dissipates, and nothing's left but his shattered armor. Izuku looks down, and no one else is around him. A bloody Melissa is holding on to Inko's ashes. Izuku screams, but he immediately regains control of himself. With a solemn face, he rushes around the city and kills all the Nomu. Fighting the heroes that were still alive, he heads back to Melissa and grabs her hand. Without saying a word, they're all immediately in front of the police. Izuku hands Melissa off to the medics and places his hands behind his back, tears streaming down his face. He remembers the face of his mother, seeing her turn into ash before his very eyes, and neither of them had the strength to say goodbye. He has Melissa's wounds carved into his mind, her bloody form changing into the ashes of Inko, desperately trying to hold her together. He remembers his friends from school, and how starstruck they were at the sight of him. He remembers Bakugo, his rival that he never got to beat in just a one-on-one fight. He remembers David's shield, and the man that helped him pursue his identity as Nightblade. He remembers the hundreds of villains he's cut down, and the first woman he ever saved. How thankful she was, and how her eyes glowed a mixture of joy and fear. I failed. He survived. He's gonna tear this world apart. As the police chief looks at him in utter disbelief, the whole thing, at least until now, at least until the last attack, was televised. The police chief screams, "You mean that monster survived that assault? Shit. We're out of our element here. Pull yourself together. It's unbecoming of my arresting officer." The two police officers clamp the quirk-dampening cuffs onto Izuku and load him into the back of a tank. Not a secured truck, it's a tank, military grade, to take him off to Tartarus. As Izuku rides, he cries in silence. No sobs, just shaking and heavy breathing. This world will die because he didn't finish the fight. He didn't deserve to call himself a hero.